Hello, Penguins fans. Happy Monday, or should I say Victory Monday, after the Pittsburgh Steelers got that massive win against Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. A nice, clean sweep of Pittsburgh sports over Tampa Bay sports. Now we just need the Pirates to play the Rays or something, but I'm also not a Pirates fan, so maybe I would want the Nationals to play them, and then we get like the nice, clean sweep for the teams that I have an interest in. At least. But there's also happy game day to all of you out there for the Penguins. They will play 7 o'clock tonight against the Canadiens de Montreal up at the Bell Center. We're going to get into that a little later on for this episode, do a preview for that game, look at the Canadiens' lines. Their defense is a bit banged up, but also get into why I think the Habs are a bit of a pesky team, and why this is not going to be a pushover like you saw with Arizona on night one for the Penguins. Before we get to that, we're going to do a full game recap episode for the Tampa Bay game and how good the Penguins looked. Go into some individual performances that I like. Some of the penalty killing was much better. Power play, Tristan Jarry, all of that plus so much more is coming up for today's episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast, and you can catch it right after this drop.
You're Locked On Penguins, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Penguins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. You're going to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. You can also follow the show's Twitter at Illinois Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. Excuse me. First things first. Great to be back at PPG Paints Arena. That's my first game there in almost 3 years now. Right, I got to a game right before the COVID-19 pandemic. And funny enough, it was the game that Jake Gensel broke his collarbone after he scored. But the atmosphere was electric. Especially for an early regular season game. Some fans aren't fully into it yet. Pittsburgh Steelers got everyone, but everyone just is gripped by the Steelers, I think is what I'm trying to say. But no, this crowd was very lively. It wasn't like a playoff-like crowd, but it was definitely one of the better regular season crowds that I have seen at PPG, and just sitting among fans again, that was really awesome. And I got to meet so many amazing people. Ryan L from Penguins Twitter, very nice guy. Jeff from the Pens blog, he ran it. One of the nicest humans you'd probably ever meet. Got to meet Rob Rossi from The Athletic, had a great conversation with him. And last but not least, I got to meet Peter and Meredith, two very longtime listeners of the show. I promise both of you, next time you all are in for a game, I will buy you at least a round or two of a drink of your choice. Really appreciated you guys coming up to talk to me about the game and just the team overall. And hopefully next time you guys, when you guys are up, when I'm hopefully there too, we'll be able to have a longer conversation, all that. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I know, Alan, you messaged me. For some reason, again, my phone did not get the notification for the show's Twitter account. Next time I am there, which should be mid-November, we'll make something happen. We'll meet during intermission and stuff. And again, if anyone's going to go to that game, let me know in the YouTube comments and let me know just on social media or something. But yeah, just great to meet so many of you, and great to go to such an awesome game. It's funny, I'm on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak right now when I've gone to Penguins games. And the Penguins, they took it to Tampa Bay in this game. The numbers. Everyone I think that watched that game, you use your eye test. You're like, okay, the Penguins dominated them. The numbers also back it up. At 5v5, the Penguins had 55% of the shot attempts for per 60. They also had 58% of the scoring chances, 18-5 advantage in high danger. That comes out to 78%. And they also had 71% of the expected goals for. And yes, I understand Tampa Bay is playing on a back-to-back. They're also playing without the best goaltender on the planet, or I think he is, Andrei Vasilevsky. Totally get it. That said, you can beat a team like that on a back-to-back, but it takes something else to dominate a team like that on a back-to-back. And the Penguins, they absolutely took it to Tampa. I know things started out a little dicey. Stamkos got the power play goal for them. Penguins penalty kill was kind of just, out to lunch yet again. The problems, still, when Tristan Jarry is not stopping the puck, the unit can get a bit leaky. But after that, it was all Penguins. Sidney Crosby goes forehand, backhand to tie the game at 1. Wonderful pass from Jake Gensel, by the way. That was just spectacular. Danton Heinen with an unbelievable individual effort. If you have not seen the replay of that, go to this Twitter account has it. Jake Decker, Jake D8771. He put out the clip from Hine. It has over 1,100 retweets. The way he's able to spin around, corral the puck away from Belmar, get the puck, dive for the puck again, and then he still has it, gets it to Jason Zucker, who then gets it right back to him. An unbelievable individual effort, and the shot was also picture perfect. Please go back and watch that. It's probably the best play I've ever seen Heinen make in his career. And just so everyone I can remind you all, he makes $1 million to steal. That is exactly what it is. Jeff Carter got his first goal of the season. Really nice shot from Carter, by the way. Was a nice, I believe that went 5-hole going to the right. And also, I should say, great pass from Kasperi Kapanen. I'm going to get to him in a little bit because he's been awesome to start the season, but really nice finish from Carter on that goal after a really nice pass from Kapanen on a 2-on-1. Again, Jake Gensel, he does his thing with his goal. He has now 2 on the year. That's 2 out of 50 now. So for those that are keeping track, goals in back-to-back games, and I think he's probably going to score tonight against Montreal as well. Ricard Raquel, he gets the empty netter. Nice to see him get rewarded. And Brian Rust, really nice tip in on the power play. And then I should say Tristan Jarry, awesome performance from him. 34 saves on 36 shots, 944 save percentage with the math. He was on one that night. And I was tweeting this during the game. I'm sure you all saw this. He was getting feisty with the Lightning. I haven't really seen him that amped during a game for as long as he's been a Penguin. I think Corey Perry was the one that kind of like knocked into him a little bit. And that's Corey Perry. He's going to do that all the time. Another Lightning player, barreled into him, but also I'm pretty sure Jeff Petrie pushed him into Jarry. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt, but Tristan was still a bit fired up after that. And they were just coming near his kitchen all night long. And a couple times, he even shoved a couple Lightning players. I almost was thinking, like, is he going to go out there and go full Ron Hextall on someone and just go chase after them and punch them or something? Like how Hextall did that against the Penguins all those years ago. It was hilarious. And he was always known for doing that stuff. But I was honestly thinking that he was going to do that just because I've never seen him that animated. But, if he continues to bring that level of play to this team on a nightly basis, this team's going to win a lot of games this season. And I think my bold prediction of him being a Vezina finalist, could actually come to fruition. I'll get to a couple of other things a little in the second segment, but this was a great win. They've picked up right where they left off last year in the playoffs. You look, if any of you guys are even a little bit into data, you follow Jay Fresh Hockey. So he has a team stats dashboard, and he has a chart here. If I can load this up on the YouTube page, I'm going to try to share. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Okay, so you all see this, those that are watching on YouTube. So you come here, right? So expected goals versus expected goals against 5v5. On the left, you have great offense, bad defense. So like the Islanders are right there. Rangers kind of right there, the Winnipeg Jets. Then you have at the bottom, you're getting caved in. For those that don't know what caved in means, you're bleeding chances. You're not getting out of your own zone. Philadelphia, Columbus, Detroit. It's funny that Philadelphia is down there considering that that they're 2-0 to start the season. The Oilers. Then you have the low event hockey. That means defense first, not a lot of offense. Then two-way dominance. You got the Devils in there, even though they're not off to a good start. Calgary, Vegas, Boston. But right up at the top, the best team in the league thus far this season, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Two-way dominance. They have been elite with expected goals and expected goals against. They have picked up exactly where they left off from the playoff series against the Rangers. It's like nothing changed at all. And the fact that they did that to a bona fide playoff team, that should speak volumes to me and to all of you. I honestly should say. This is the Penguins. I went over this on my Friday episode. They have played Tampa really well these last several years. And I think Tampa Bay is a team that the Penguins can beat in a 7-game series, even if Andrei Vasilevsky is playing. That's a team that's played a lot of hockey, and the Penguins combine, their speed and skill and their defending so far this season. I think it will be a really tough matchup for Tampa Bay. I think Pittsburgh matches up really well against them. So I know it's not the Arizona Coyotes, but they put 6 up on the Lightning, 12 goals in 2 games. Amazing start to the season for the Penguins and a beautiful performance against the Lightning. Coming up in this second segment, I'm going to get into some individual player performances that I liked for what I have with my notes. Also get into the special teams units and how great they were as well. Now, before we get to that, the numbers don't lie. In the last decade, over 4 million people have chosen SimpliSafe home security to protect their home. You don't earn the trust of that many people without doing something right. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. I know because I use it in my own home, and I know other people that use it in their homes as well. They protect you with cutting-edge security technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. With 24/7 professional monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents, they call you the moment a threat is detected and dispatch police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not home or can't be reached. The monitoring experts use advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real so you can get the highest priority police dispatch. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplisafe.com/LockedOnNHL. You can save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. That's again, visit simplisafe.com/LockedOnNHL to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. All right, I'm back in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at LO_Penguins. So let's get into the special teams units first before I get into some individual player performances. PK didn't start out the way you wanted it to. That diamond that they run was just looking really passive. You can't give Steven Stamkos a free one-timer from the circle. He has one of the best shots in the league. Tristan Jarry, he can save that as many times as he can. Was not able to on that one. That was just a rocket of a shot. But after that, the Lightning had plenty more power play opportunities. The PK really woke up. They were getting their clears down. They weren't just like simple, we're just going to, push the puck up the ice. No, like they were ripping that puck down the ice. They were actually getting offensive zone time during the shorthanded opportunities. And everyone seemed to be, complacent with where they were when they were defending the 4-on-5 situation. Tristan Jarry also made some nice saves, but they also got back to being aggressive, which is where this unit, it's the bread and butter. When this unit is struggling, they're not being aggressive. They're playing passive in this diamond. I understand that they want to protect the high danger areas of the ice, but you're still leaving a vulnerable spot like Steven Stamkos's one, available. Say Alex Ovechkin is in that spot. He's going to rip that sucker every time. And I think a lot of those times it's going to be goals. So I still would like someone out there to, take that away at least. Still obviously work to be done, but I did finally see improvement with the PK. If the PK can be improved and the fourth line can be improved a little bit, especially with Teddy Bluger's return, I think this team will be cooking with gas, to say the least. Power play, again, things picked up right where they left off against Arizona. The puck movement was so crisp. They were getting to the high danger areas of the ice, and they weren't overpassing, which is so great to see. When this unit's struggling or where they're overthinking, they're passing the puck too much, they're not ripping it to the net. They were not doing that at all. Evgeny Malkin looked great on the man advantage. Sid was doing his thing. Letang was quarterbacking it beautifully from the point. Russ was able to have I believe he had a power play tally late in the game when he had the deflection. I'm pretty sure Jake Stoll was on the power play as well. Just really, really good stuff from the power play so far. And when they're humming like this, they're awfully hard to stop. And I think Montreal may find that out a bit later on tonight. Individual player performance-wise, I'm going to shout out P.O. Joseph. I think he looked a lot better in that game. I don't know if some of you all noticed. I definitely did. He was joining the offensive zone attack a lot more in this game. He was actually going to the net, being more aggressive. He almost had his first goal of the season, actually, I believe it was late in the first period when I'm trying to remember who centered it to him, and he got right to that blue paint area. But Brian Elliott had a nice save, wasn't able to tuck it home, POJ that is, but still, that's the kind of plays I want to see from him. Play like you have nothing to lose, play aggressive. And I think he was also making really strong decisions with the puck in the offensive zone. I thought his breakouts looked a lot more crisp, a lot more clean. He looked more comfortable next to Jan Ruta. He also even had some ice time with POJ. If I can go find that stat for you all real quick. They played, it was about almost 4 minutes. 338 on ice expected goals for 1.6, on ice expected goals against 0.012. Those are elite numbers. Very short sample size, but he was playing that with Chris Letang, a pair that has struggled in the past. But those numbers right there, very, very strong. I'm curious to see if Mike Sullivan maybe goes back to that pair a little bit. If Dumoulin struggles at times, though, I think he had a good game on Saturday. But I think based on those results that we saw so far in limited action on Saturday against Tampa Bay, I think that's definitely progress from where the pairing was a few years ago. But really impressed with POJ defensively, rock solid, decision making really good, and he was being aggressive and getting more involved offensively, which is what I want him to do. Kasperi Kapanen, I think he's had a really nice start to the season. Had that nice pass to Jeff Carter to get that assist on the goal, and he looks a lot more confident right now. I mean, if you're not noticing that, I guess I can't help you, but it really is amazing what just even a little bit of confidence can do for a player. Those first 2 games, he's already had a point per game. So he is on pace for 82 points. Won't last, but it's a good start. He's actually carrying the puck more into the offensive zone. He's not coming in, button hooking back and just looking for that pass. He's using his speed to his advantage. And he's also seeing the ice a lot better than he was last season. And I'm really hoping that can continue too. So those are my top 2 player performances from this game. Already talked about Tristan Jarry. He was magnificent. Sid is Sid. He's leading the league in points right now. How does he do it at age 35? Well, people doubt him. He's still a top 5 to top 10 player in this league. Jake, I mean, what more can you say about Gensel? Already is on an 82 goal game pace. Maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. He won't. Trying to make sure I got everything I wanted here. Jeff Petrie, I thought he looked really solid in this game. He was even better than when he was in Arizona. I'm really excited to see him make his return to Montreal on Monday night. Malkin had a lot more hop in his skating again, had the assist on one of the goals. His skating right now, again, this is probably the best I've seen him skate in the last 2 to 3 years. It's truly amazing what a full offseason can do for a player who was not hurt coming into the offseason. Again, I think he's going to make a whole lot of people look foolish this season. Fourth line, still not a fan of it. I think that's if there's any small negative to come out of this game, it's the fourth line. I'm not a fan of it. But I think once Blueger comes back, he should be able to help things a good bit. I thought Paling had a much better game, though. I think he was more active in the offensive zone. I liked a couple of shots that he had on. He almost had a couple of goals, to be honest with you. Archibald and McGinn, I mean, they're not doing too much right now, but that's only been 2 games. So, those are the main player performances that really stood out to me, I guess. But man, I mean, there's a whole lot to like about this team right now. And there's a whole lot to not, I mean, I almost screwed that up. And there's not a whole lot, to not like about this team right now. So those are my main individual player performances that I really looked down at my notes and wanted to get into the power play and the penalty kill. Coming up in the final segment, we're going to preview Monday night's game against the Montreal Canadiens, go into their lines, go into their numbers, see how they have done this season. So stick around for that coming up after this commercial break. All right, I'm back here in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. You can also follow the show's Twitter at @LA_Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. So this will be the first of 3 meetings between the Canadiens And the Penguins this year, one of the first, I believe this is actually the first one between Marty St. Louis and the Penguins. I think the Penguins got all of their games against the Canadians done before Dom Ducharme got fired last year, which is crazy to think about, because he only got fired like halfway through the season, something like that. The Canadians, they come into this game 1-2 record. They beat the Leafs in their first game, got shut out by the Red Wings in their second game, and then lost 3-1 to the Capitals in their last game. So they're coming in here only one goal scored in their last two games. The Canadians, they kind of got hemmed in against Washington. The Capitals had 52% of the shot attempts at 5v5, 69% of the high danger chances, 58% of the scoring chances. This is a Canadians team. They're built to be bad, but I think the thing with them is they're going to make you fight for wins against them. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. Look, we can look at their forward lines. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Sean Monahan, Evgeny Dadonov, Christian Dvorak, Brendan Gallagher. There is some serious talent in that top six. Cole Caulfield, very underrated goal scorer. I wouldn't say he's their best player, but he's up there. I have a ton of fun watching him, and his release is a freak of nature. Nick Suzuki, don't know if he's going to be worth, a very long-term extension, but he's still a good player, and you always have to be on high alert for him. Dvorak, he's not what he used to be. Brendan Gallagher, I've always been a fan of him. I've wanted the Penguins to honestly go after him for so many years. He's like that heart and soul player for them. And, he's going to give it his all on an every night basis. Dadonov, we all know what happened with his situation in Vegas last year. He's also a usually underrated goal scorer. Jonathan Drouin, Kirby Dach, Josh Anderson on their third line. Slavkovsky, the number one overall pick, is in the lineup, but he's on the fourth line. And then Mike Hoffman is also down there. I'm pretty sure their fourth line center is Jake Evans. He's all right. And then defensively, David Savard is on their top pair. They have a whole lot of defensemen who I honestly do not really know who they are. And the thing is about that, their defensemen, they're banged up back there. Mike Matheson's out for the next several weeks. I really was hoping to see him tonight. Just unfortunate that he got hurt during camp and preseason. And then Joel Edmondson is also out. And another thing for the Canadians, they will not have Jake Allen tonight. Apparently, according to the team, it's a parental absence. So starting in net for them will be Sam Montembeault, and then Primo will be backing him up. So the Penguins will be getting another backup goaltender tonight. One that, I think in theory they should feast on him. Montembeault, I'm pretty sure he's only had one appearance this year. If I'm getting this right. Yes. 897. Yeah. Yep. One appearance this year. Lost the game. 3 goals allowed on 29 shots. 3 goals against average. 897 save percentage for his career. He's appeared in 64 games. Has a 64 total games played. 50 starts. 17-27 record. 3.53 goals against average. 892 save percentage. This is a goalie that the Penguins, they got to shoot a lot on him. They should be able to get some goals past him. But in typical Penguins fashion, I'm sure this is totally just going to be like a 45 save 2-1 win for the Canadians or something like that. But again, the Canadians, they have a nice top six defensively. Not a whole lot there right now with their injuries. They have a backup goaltender, but still, this is a lineup. They're very pesky. They're going to make you work hard on every single shift. Marty St. Louis, the players are not going to quit under him. They played really good hockey down the stretch for him. It wasn't playoff-worthy hockey, of course, because the team was out of it, but they looked noticeably better down the stretch. I mean, heck, Jeff Petrie was almost a point-per-game player for him before he got moved in the offseason. So that they're going to bring it. I would think the Penguins will win this game tonight, but you never know. It's any given night for a reason. The Penguins they have to watch out for, again, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher, Evgeny Dadonov. I will put this out there. Jonathan Drouin, watch out for him. I know he's not the player that he used to be, but I know all you Penguins fans that listen to this podcast remember how crazy he was in 2016, and even after that, he would just score on a nightly basis against the Penguins during those seasons. So would not be surprised if he gets a goal tonight against him, just because he has been a Penguins killer over the years. So Penguins try to get to 3-0 tonight, get points 5 and 6. After that, they will come home, play the Los Angeles Kings on Thursday, and then next week they have the game in Columbus, and then they start the massive Western Canada trip right before Halloween. So that does it for this small little preview for the game against Canadians, the players to watch for, going into the lineup numbers and all that, and how they're just, they're pesky. They forecheck really hard. They kind of play like rats in a little way. And they're not going to, even though defensively they're not that strong back there, they're still going to try to not give you an inch, just because Maurice St. Louis, that's how his teams are coached, at least from what I saw when I was watching them last season, at least a little bit more, because they became more watchable under him. But it's always fun to watch a game on TV at the Bell Center. It's probably one of the best arenas out there. I would love to catch a game there in person someday. But yeah, that does it for this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll have a full game recap episode coming up after this game that will be published on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens tonight. Also, I did forget to say, Casey DeSmith in net tonight. Great. And I love it. It's a great way to get Tristan some rest. He's been great to start the year. And if DeSmith can continue to play the way he did in the preseason, he's going to be one of the better backups in the league this year. And that will also in turn help Jari get more rest. Totally fine with the decision, putting him up against what's probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league this season. Curious to see how he does in his first start. All the other lines will likely be unchanged. Again, thank you all so much for listening. I'll be back with another episode early Tuesday morning. Talk to you then.